10 things that I hate about my Tesla. I have two actually Tesla Model S cars, but before we go any further, let me just make this very clear. I believe that Tesla Model S is by far the best car on the market today, or the best car that's ever been on the market. The only exception I would be willing to make, if you like SUVs more than you like sedans, then the Tesla Model X might top the Model S. But other than that, I think Model S is it. And as a matter of fact, I think those are the 10 things that are holding it from kind of being almost perfect. So, and the reason I want to tell you about these things is, one is, you know, this is also things to hopefully improve, but also if you're buying one or you're looking forward to buying one, just something for you to think about it, something to be kind of prepared, you know, for, and maybe some of the features you do or don't want to take that maybe I didn't like, but you do like, or you also don't like and you don't want to pay for it, because there are some features that I got that I kind of regret now. Anyway, so I'm gonna tell you all about it, and we're gonna start right now.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world,
Okay, so if you are watching this live on Patreon, welcome. Thank you so much for participating and contributing. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please join this community by clicking the subscribe button. Now, by the way, the reason you're seeing this instead of a regular daily news that I do is because I am going to Milan, Italy to cover Byton's premiere, their European premiere. And by the way, the Byton is the brand that I've covered on CES, and they that's where they had a world premiere, and they're doing this in Europe now, and it's during Milan's Design Week, so that could be or should be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there, and of course I will have a few videos from there, and I will even try to live stream or post some pictures on Patreon for you guys, so you kind of have that experience with me. But this is why you're not watching this news segment. But I think this is time that we talk about this, and we talk about it back and forth in different segments. And by the way, there are couple of these that Tesla is just about to change, so kudos to them. But maybe you're buying a used one, or this is something that's going to be bugging you anyway after their update. So let's go over it and discuss this. Now, first of all, door handles. Now, I know they are very cool. You know, actually, as a matter of fact, if you want to impress someone whenever you're showing your Tesla around, that's one of the most impressive things, right? When you approach the car and the handles come out and then they slowly go back in, it's really nice and smooth. But here in California, it gets really hot, and in some places it actually gets very cold. So these handles get also really hot, and you can't get into this car unless you literally grab them, right? The same thing with Model 3. And it's a bit of a problem. Actually, I've burned my hand a few times. Sometimes you don't think about it, right? They present to you, grab it, and you yank it, and you go like, oh my God, I just got a 3rd-degree burn. I know some people also dislike it because of the cold weather. It gets kind of cold, but you know, you can warm your hands up and you're not gonna get a, you know, cold burn, but with the hot weather, it is a problem. So that's one thing that I hope they change. Maybe plastic cover, or just made it out of the material that just doesn't get as hot. Something to improve, but very cool nevertheless. All right, let's move on to the next one, and it's the browser. And this is one of those features. I'm making this in April of 2018, and they are just about to put out a new browser. As a matter of fact, that update is being rolled out to people, but I don't know how much better they're gonna get this going. I know it's gonna be a little bit faster, but it's still like right now, I mean, I gave up a long time, and I know a lot of people who just don't even bother. It's extremely slow. It doesn't load up like complicated pages, right? Or it doesn't act right. Obviously, it doesn't do video in there. You can't watch YouTube or anything like that. Basically, it kind of is pretty much useless, and it's really, really slow. It's kind of weird. You can, you know, stream music to your car, but you can load a CNN.com many times. So I definitely don't like that. I'm looking forward to the improvement, but I haven't heard anything where it's just a little bit faster, but I haven't heard that it's working any better. Hopefully, it's going to fix that as well. Next one is phone integration. Now, many other cars are so far ahead of Tesla here. When you get a text message, it can, display it on the screen for you. It can read it out loud for you also. The apps get integrated. You can integrate Waze and Google Maps and just so many different apps that can really be integrated with your car. Tesla doesn't give you any of this. They have attempted to integrate a calendar, Google Calendar, and I gotta tell you, it's a bit of a disaster. A lot of times I can't count on this. Every time I get into the car, I don't know if it's gonna connect correctly or not. And it's only giving you a couple of the days, like today and tomorrow. You can't really just browse your calendar or add events to it. And it's just not, I mean, I gave up on this as well. So something that I hope they integrate much closer, because what I've seen at CES, and Byton is actually one of the car makers that believe that they want to take your digital experience, whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're in a meeting and you're listening to something, you're watching something, you're in a phone call or whatever it is that you're doing, they want to make a seamless transition between your home or office and your car. And this is where Tesla is coming up very much short. Well, let's move on to the next one, and supercharging time. I know it sounds kind of funny because superchargers are fast charging chargers, and there's nothing else like this in the world, but here's a problem. I don't mind that it takes 45 minutes to charge. So when you go in, in my case, when I go from San Francisco to Los Angeles, instead of 5 hours, a lot of times I spend 7 or 8 hours on the road, and those 2 or 3 extra hours is what makes the drive from bearable to tedious, right? So to me, it's very important for me to know, am I going to be at the supercharger for 45 minutes or over an hour? And there are a couple of things that add to that. One is obviously lines, because in some of the busier superchargers with the busier times, you might get in line and will be 10, 15 cars sometimes. So you might end up, waiting for a half an hour. That's a bit of a problem. Secondly, even when you connect to the charger, you don't know what rate you're actually going to get. Now, granted, the first, 70 or 80% of your battery is going to be charging at the top speed that it can charge. And after that, it's going to trickle down and go slow. This is just a battery technology for now. And most of the time I never do that, because that's, 80% of the battery is more than enough to get you to the next supercharger or to your destination. But a lot of times you connect and you go like, whoa, it is super slow. Instead of 30 minutes, I'm going to be here for an hour. So technically you just added another half an hour. Now, sometimes you can change stalls if there are stalls available. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're like the only car, you took the only available stall, you don't even have a choice. So if you stood in line, and most likely if you stood in line and there are no other stalls available, and you ended up with a slow charging stall, you're adding another hour sometimes. Now, I know it's kind of extreme, but sometimes you do, to another 45 minutes of charging. So I really don't like the inconsistency here. So I wish they would kind of fix that, or at least give me an estimate. So that's a problem. Let's move on to the next one. And this is sudden changes. Here's the thing. I do like the fact that when Tesla wants to change something in a car, they just do it overnight, right? And that's fine. Sometimes they're not necessary things. Like, for example, this is my car, one of my 2 cars. And, as you can see, it has the older cone on the front. Now, I bought this car only like half a year before they refreshed it. But I wasn't told that that's coming, right? With most cars, you know that, oh, the refresh is coming, and I don't mind, buying the previous version or whatever. Or no, I want to buy the one with the refresh because maybe I like it better, or maybe obviously that will keep up the resale value, which sometimes is most of the time is very important. So I prefer to know that. There are a lot of your changes that are obviously made with over-the-air updates, and whenever you get your car, no matter what, you will have it. Whether you get it used or new or in another year or in 5 years. But a lot of changes, they do it all the time. Even the way the buttons are, or like the front end, and sometimes the trim, the packages get changed around all the time, and even in the battery size, right? Now, I'm okay with Tesla kind of changing as it goes. And it was very clear that we should expect them pretty often, but I would like to have heads up. I would like them to say, because people sometimes order a car thinking they're going to get this, and by the time they get it, the front was different. This is why we had a problem with the Model 3 earlier this year, right? Because the people ordered this with premium package, and they expected the one type of the interior material, and they got a different type of interior material, and they just didn't like that nobody told them. And that's one thing, is that sudden changes. Tesla never announced it ahead of time. Even 1 or 2 months, a lead time, I would appreciate, and I think a lot of people would, if they would let us know, saying, okay, just so you know, this update is coming to the car. So I don't like that they just don't let people know, and a lot of times they get something different from what they ordered only a few weeks ago. Next one, the media center. It's a bit of a mess. Now, this is kind of a picture, a screenshot. As you can see, there's a radio. There's a streaming service, which is Slacker, and there's a tune-in radio, and there is a phone. Now, we already talked about the phone's crappy integration. So when you stream from your phone, a lot of times even the graphic doesn't make it through. You can't really control a lot of it on the screen as much as you can on your phone. That's kind of a basic integration, but okay, we're over that now. What I would like is the incorporation of everything, because do people even understand why there's Slacker here and TuneIn Radio here, that they're two different services, and why there are two different services? Now, I'm from Russia, and sometimes I like listen to Russian radio stations, and to look for the Russian radio stations and all the stations around the world, the interface is completely tedious. It's really, really hard to find the station that you want, and a lot of times you find the station, and in like another month, it just disappears on you. You also can't really mix your favorites, right? Like, I would prefer to just have all of my favorite stations, where they like Russian radio, internet radio, or it's a Slacker station or whatever. I would like to just be able to kind of organize it myself, but here it kind of forces you into two different bookmarks, well, really three if you count the radio. And of course, there is no CD player. And really, I would even like to bookmark stuff on my phone and put this in this library. So just confusing, not as many features as it should have. And overall, I just don't like it because of that, because it's a bit of a mess. Let's move on to the next one. It's navigation system. As I'm talking, and I'm sure there are quite a few Teslas right now are getting that update, and people are saying it is much better. I've seen some screenshots, and it looks like it's going to catch up to what Model 3 kind of has to offer, and I've seen that one as well. But is it good enough? We'll see. But my biggest problem has always been with the estimated time of arrival. Every time I need it, sometimes I put the destination, even though I know how to get there, but just so I know when I'm going to get there, right? Well, you can't really rely on that with Tesla, at least right now. I always have to grab my phone and Google that location, and that's the way how I know through Google Maps that's what my estimated time of arrival is going to be, because they're incorporating the traffic into it. I didn't think it was that hard of a feature to implement, but 5, almost 6 years now down the road, and hopefully they'll get it right. I know they are changing that, but I don't know if it's going to be completely 100% good. And there are so many features. Like, there's nothing that Tesla offers that pretty much every single like $100 Garmin that you buy at Fry's Electronics or Best Buy wouldn't have, right? There's no features that yes, they implemented the superchargers in there, but that's kind of a must. I really would like Tesla to innovate here as well, because navigation system is such a big part of any car, that I would like this to be also on the cutting edge. So don't like it. All right, so the app, and here's a screenshot of the app, and it's a decent app. It does all the basic things, and they've added some things, and it used to be really slow. Now sometimes it's just really slow, and that's fine. But however, I would also like a better integration. I would like to be able to maybe enter destination before I get to the car through my phone. I would like to get some stats maybe from my car to my phone. Maybe see what the favorite stations I got going on there, and maybe get one of those music here on my on my computer. Just have a better integration, because all of this is available. There's no reason for my phone not to get the data from my car, or to get some of the data from my phone to my car, like the address. I literally have a video how and I made it like a year ago, how you can hack this, how you can use a calendar feature to put the address in there, and then it kind of triggers the navigation system. But it shouldn't be like a hacker kind of a situation. They should have it right here, and I wish they would upgrade their app. All right, couple more. This one is a pretty big one. The last one's two pretty big ones. As you know, the cars with Autopilot have cameras, and now with the Autopilot 2, it has 3 cameras up front and quite a few other cameras. And I've always been saying that, listen, if you're buying a car, then you need to have a dash cam. It's literally like windshield, tires, dash cams. That's how important it is, because you know, if you get an accident and it's not your fault, it's a lot of times it's impossible to prove it, right? Because people lie all the time. And so I have a dash cam that's dual, front and back, but this car already has the damn dash cams, and there's a lot of them all around. All they have to do is to put a little bit of a removable hard drive, so you can record. Now, you can choose not to record. That's fine. But it is just so easy. And yeah, charge us more. I mean, I paid $500 for my, you know, dash cam and installation. Fine, charge me that, because your product is going to be better. It's going to have a lot of, you know, cameras instead of 2. And it's going to be recorded there. Something I would also like to see on my app or in my account, that I can log in into my account on my computer, my laptop, or my tablet and see the dash cam footage. Maybe I want to, you know, save it, maybe not, and, you know, make that a service. I don't even mind paying an extra maybe $5 a month, but provided you have it and you're not letting us have it. Major problem with that. I know Elon Musk said that they're going to do it, but damn, I mean, it's been 3 years and it's not that hard to implement. Do it already. Do it. All right, number 1, and I don't think it's any surprise, I regret having Autopilot on both of my cars. When I got it, when I got my cars in 2015, at that time you didn't really have to keep your hands on the wheel all the time, right? I know they implemented this rule because of some regulations and some, you know, accidents that happen all the time, but I felt like I was buying one thing and then I got another thing. And to me, if I have to pay attention pretty much all the time to the road, and that's fine. You know, I understand I was still in charge, but my hands can rest or whatever. I can maybe even stretch. That was still worth it for me. But once I still have to do this and pay attention to the road, why do I need an Autopilot? I mean, yes, people say it in traffic, it helps a little bit, but no. And again, this is one of those things I would have loved to know ahead of time that this is something that's gonna not be there at some point. And I regret having an Autopilot. So I don't use it as often. Mainly use it for parking. And the summon feature also is a nice toy, great toy, I mean, free, just awesome. But I don't really see an actual need for it. So Autopilot is something I really hope they improve. As you know, I have an Autopilot 1, but if I would have gotten Autopilot 2 only a few months later, it would have been much worse than my Autopilot 1. As a matter of fact, it just now, almost 3 years later, caught up to the Autopilot 1 features. So I can only imagine, I can't imagine how those people feel about getting something they thought they were, you know, it literally, the feature regressed from the original version. Only now it's going to start picking up steam. And again, until I can literally just say, okay, drive me on the freeway and I can, you know, relax a little bit, take my eyes off the road maybe a little bit longer, maybe check my email. That's what I'd like to have. But a toy that required me to do what I was going to do anyway is just not worth my money, unfortunately. So these are top 10 things that I don't like about my Tesla Model S. But once again, my next car is probably still going to be Tesla Model S as my lease expires this year. So these are just 10 things that I think, if are changed, will make this car pretty much perfect. So if you disagree with some of these, that's more than welcome to post the comment in the comment section. And of course, if you have one that I think I missed, by all means, go ahead and let me know that as well. Once again, I'll be back from Milan on Thursday, and I will start doing news again and posting some of the Byton unveiling videos, and I think it's going to be really cool. And then hopefully I will check out the the Beijing Auto Show. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Now, one thing I just kind of wanted to mention that, I just had Rich rebuilds, hopefully. I'm recording it before he shows up actually on, on Saturday, but let me show you what's coming up. So Cali trip, I'm basically going to be going to a California trip with my Tesla adventure. If you want to join us, TeslaRoadTrip.com is where you can register. Then Zach and Jesse are going to be here, and I actually got a couple of more guests, and they are John, who's I met at CES. He's a VP of Workhorse. We're going to talk about that pretty cool company that I like. And Henrik Fisker, literally just today, booked him on the show. Very excited to have him here. So we're going to have a good time. Some of them are going to be pre-recorded. I will still stream live on Patreon like I'm doing right now, but they're going to be pre-recorded, and we will just have questions from Patreon, and I'll repost it at the scheduled date, which usually is Saturdays at 11 a.m. So, all right. So I think I got you guys all updated on everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to your comments. Other than that, I will see you next time. And remember to stay charged.